Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
And as we're talking about terrorists, let's talk about 9/11. Now, for a very long time, Infowars.com has been talking about the missing 28 pages. You guys may have heard of this. It recently made its way to a piece on 60 Minutes. And not knocking the 60 Minutes piece, I thought it was a very well-produced piece, but there was very little in that piece that we haven't been talking about for the past several years. And it's always that disparity, whether it's 9/11 or many other things. We'll talk about it years before it breaks in the mainstream news. And when we talk about it, we're conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat and paranoid and all this other stuff. But it makes it on 60 Minutes like, oh, well, this is some legitimate news. And it's the same thing when you talk about cell phones and iPads and all these other things being able to have back doors and people spy on you. When we were talking about, kooky conspiracy theorists and all this stuff, and then like 2 or 3 years ago, they had a piece on CNN where they say, yeah, put tape over your laptop because people can hack in and spy on you. We told you that a long time ago, but that's just, I guess, how it goes, the demonization of the media. And they say President Obama, back to the 9/11 documents, excuse me, President Obama will decide whether to declassify the 28 pages of sealed documents, which some speculate show a Saudi connection to the 9/11 attacks. And this is brought about by former Florida Democratic Senator Bob Graham, and he told this to Fox News late Tuesday. And they informed him, the White House did, that they'd look into it in declassifying the documents within the next 60 days. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. It means that they're aware of it and they will, I guess, gauge public opinions to see whether or not this is something that needs to be put out there. And if you guys go back there and watch the 60 Minutes piece, which I said, once again, I said it's, it's a pretty good piece. They document how many people think there is a Saudi connection. Basically, the Saudi government, even if it was rogue elements within the government, the guys in the piece were saying that the Saudi government was somehow involved in providing means and shelter to at least 2 of the hijackers on 9/11. Once again, we already know that many of the hijackers were trained here in the United States, and then all the weird shenanigans that all that details. But once again, you can bring somebody the news, they can bring you the exact same news that we do many years later, but it's legitimate when they do it and we do it. Like nobody really cares about anything. Now let's talk about, you're driving in your car, right? So you're driving in your car, you get pulled over by the police, and it's one thing to see if a guy's swerving all over the road, they roll down the window and he has, alcohol in his breath, or they smell, drugs, whatever in the car, and then they want to give him a breathalyzer. Okay, yeah, I can see that. But now they say they have this thing called the textalyzer, which basically means if they pull you over, they can plug in your phone and see what your activities were immediately before you were pulled over. And they're saying police have the textalyzer, a gadget that can help them gauge if a distracted driver has been using their mobile phone before the road incident. And it's built by Celebrite, an Israeli company. And they say that they also helped them crack the FBI phone. And that's a whole nother can of worms. I don't know if I got time to get into it right now. We're talking about the iPhone deal. Basically, John McAfee of John McAfee's antivirus software, you probably have it on your computer right now, told the FBI in simple step-by-step instructions how to do this on live TV. Meanwhile, they wanted Apple to build in a back door. I don't think it was about national security. I think it's about trying to get Apple to bend over to the system. So I do give Apple their props on that one. As we all know, Apple was implicated in the PRISM system, so you can take that for what you will. But when you think about this textalyzer, I mean, they can not just look at your recent text, but they can take anything off your phone. That includes your private text messages, pictures, any other sensitive documents that may be on your phone. So that's why I'm very much against this, as I am many of the things that they do when they try to pull you over, whether it's forced blood draws with the no refusal weekends, and some places they do it year round, but that's just another sign of the times that we have to work with. And finally, before we go into more special reports, at the end of our broadcast, we have this: whistleblower says Panama Papers a CIA op. And these are the words of USB banker Bradley Birkenfeld. He says, the CIA, I'm sure, is behind this, in my opinion. And he points out how the people named in the document are, quote, enemies of the United States, Russia, China, Pakistan, and so on and so forth. So he thinks there's definitely some CIA connection involved in here. And hey, who knows? It very well could be. We know the CIA has been bringing cocaine into the country, as well as many other shady activities, so I really wouldn't put it past him. So stay tuned after this break. We'll have many more special reports. We'll have a filmmaker in studio who's going to talk to David Knight, as well as another man who was on the show earlier talking to Alex, talking about how he used to be affiliated with these terrorist groups, but now he's actually a Christian minister. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned for the Infowars Nightly News.
Get Brainforce at 25% off for a limited time at InfowarsLife.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brainforce.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're gonna crash afterwards. And the cool thing about this is it's not just a bunch of energy compounds that are gonna fire your brain up to a higher RPM or whatever, which it does do. This is sustainable. This isn't going to spike and you're gonna collapse and you're gonna feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We're looking at the television screen for research purposes, whatever we're even doing, trying to learn something, or staring at the computer all day, working, doing good, you're still damaging your brain.
You will find Brainforce and other game-changing products at InfowarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Get Brainforce at 25% off for a limited time at InfowarsLife.com. And we thank you for your support.